Today on the Wrestling Roundtable, the Road To plus Best and Worst of WrestleMania. Welcome back to the Wrestling Roundtable. Since we've had our last show last week, hopefully you've joined us on WrestlingRoundtable.com, where you can get this great Wrestling Roundtable t-shirt, free indie mystery DVD with every order as well. Introductions first before we get to the Road WrestleMania, which is exit 57 off I-95. Lawrence Haber to my left, which is your right, and to my right, which is your left, Chris Harris and Rodney LeConte. And the first question I'm going to ask about the build-up to WrestleMania, the Road to WrestleMania. Is this card that they're going for special enough for the actually 24th anniversary? It is WrestleMania 25, but it's the 24th anniversary.
Cute.
But who cares about math? Is this card special enough for the silver anniversary?
Hell no. Let me tell you something. This Road to WrestleMania sucks, and I'd like nothing more than to turn around and take a different road somewhere else.
Tell us how you really feel, Rob.
I try to always look at things on a positive note. I always try to see better
That's not
things.
allowed here.
Yeah, exactly. The cards, it's everything that we have seen before. Michael's Undertaker, which is the only match that will make me watch WrestleMania, was done 10 years ago. And for this to be the special attraction is sad.
This is an absolutely terrible card. For WrestleMania 25, we've seen everything on here already. 20 was such a bigger deal, maybe because it was New York in the Garden. Who cares about any of these?
I can't wait. It's going to be the best. No. They've put no thought into this. If the big attraction is Michael's Undertaker, make that the main event because they're both from Texas and it's in Texas in front of a million Texas people with Texas Hall of Famers and Texas steak and Texas whatever. So just get it over with. Do whatever you're going to do. Undertaker, Michaels are going to win, whatever it's going to be, and give people something to remember instead of Randy Orton standing there, over Triple H or the other way around with the spinning Cena belt.
The whole point is to put the belt on Randy Orton, I think. But we've already heard from Big Brother via the unofficial Ministry of Information, Jim Ross. A lot of people have been blogging me that Michael's Undertaker should go last, which would seem to indicate people actually want to see that match. I think it should be one of the two world title matches. Neither one of them are either original or more special than Michael's Undertaker.
And we learned from the past, they've really dropped the ball when they didn't put Hogan and Rock last and they didn't put Flair and Michaels last, because after those matches, no one cared about anything that was going on. And
to a lesser extent last year.
To a lesser extent.
It wasn't as bad as 18.
Here's the thing with why people want to see it, why I would want to see it last. Of these matches that we know, Rod said it's been 10 years since we've seen it. That's the longest period we've seen of all these matches. We saw Triple H and Orton 11 months ago. How many times have we seen Cena and Edge?
Why not have him go up against someone like MVP? Even have him and Benjamin.
Because they're black, that's why.
And honestly, the way they're promoting the show, how during WrestleMania time they always promote their stars and they show pictures of all the stars, these characters of all the stars. It's like Cena and Undertaker and everybody. The middle one is Austin.
Mm-hmm. I am looking forward to Michael's Undertaker for a couple reasons. One, it does have some intrigue because of him retiring Flair last year. You've got the added thing with the streak, and I don't believe that they're going to blow it with Michaels. Can he retire another legend the second year in a row in his home state? They do have some great chemistry. Even the other year when they had the final two at the Royal Rumble for like 5-10 minutes.
And then they
really
started.
I thought that was going to be the match you were going to do on one of those 2 years because of the tease they did at the Rumble.
But it's the way they built it up which really pisses me off, because we all know that these two are going to fight. Why have these matches with Michaels fighting Kozlov? The winner fights The Undertaker. Why not just announce it?
If they set it up first and then built it up instead of dragging it out, maybe they would have a little more hype to it at the moment.
What really is amazing, we were talking about this, Kozlov beat Undertaker clean on SmackDown. To build, I'm not making this up. They finally do something with the guy. He's terrible, and he finally gets a big clean win over a huge star. No one beats Undertaker clean ever, even on big shows.
Khali did with a foot stomp.
Yeah.
Well, but he's amazing. The whole thing is, can Michaels beat him WrestleMania? And you have Taker lose clean on TV to a guy that nobody buys less than a month before the show, just so the Raw match with Michaels Kozlov could possibly be
But
Kozlov.
does that surprise you nowadays?
That's unbelievable. Fighting Undertaker at WrestleMania has become a title shot. They show a graphic of him in the middle when Kozlov or JBL fought Michaels if he was a championship belt. You have to do more to earn fighting Undertaker at WrestleMania than you do to get into a chamber. Kofi Kingston got a title shot on a B show, but you have to go through Kozlov and JBL to fight Undertaker at WrestleMania.
You did mention Austin before. And we have mentioned the match that they've never done, Hogan-Austin, before on the show. And at the time, I said I had no interest in seeing it. But we all know Hogan just had back surgery, so he probably won't be involved in WrestleMania at all, let alone fighting Jericho or whatever the rumor was that he created. Austin and Hogan, they spend so much money to get Mayweather, not as much as they said they did, but some money, and Donald Trump. They put this money into something that they're going to try and bring outsiders in. Why not take that same amount of money this year and make sure that Hogan-Austin happens? Because it doesn't look like it's going to happen at WrestleMania 30 or any other WrestleMania.
Vince just gets off on celebrities being there. Like, I think he just feels like it's the only time he's accepted by the outside entertainment industry.
Well, that's why they get the most press.
But you need something for the people to see so they'll watch the Backlash show. You know?
Forget Backlash. I'm talking about this WrestleMania. Why can't they make sure that they have to have their two biggest stars for the first 25 WrestleManias who've never fought? Forget Michaels Undertaker. Hogan-Austin.
Here's what I'm
Would be a
saying.
lot
That
bigger.
match is so big that it's a celebrity match in and of itself. And Hogan is a celebrity now too, you know? And they can still do the Mickey Rourke stuff, although that would be greatly degraded if they did Hogan-Austin.
Well, they could do
If you
everything.
put on a good show with everything else, you could feasibly draw people to watch Backlash and the Raw the next night and all this other stuff. Because they're
Not to
there
mention
for
the Raw is building
Hogan-Austin.
up.
Right, they're there for Hogan-Austin, and they stay for whatever else. Unfortunately, it's Orton and Edge.
You have to
Big
have
Show
something
in
else to
main
offer
events.
them for them
well,
to
that's,
stick around
Well, that's
for.
what I'm saying.
This Michaels-Undertaker match is a big thank you to their fan base because those are the two that have stuck around forever. That's nice and everything, but neither one of them are the A stars that Hogan and Austin
The
are.
elephant in the room, again, I've talked about it on the website. I've talked about it extensively on this show. John Cena is the star. And he, again, after coming back from a major injury, surprise return, winning the belt, is moved down the card to like the third or fourth main event in a three-way match for the B title with two lesser stars while they're building Orton and Michaels and all these other things.
Not to
They
mention it's the
just
second
don't
three-way match
get
in a
it.
row.
They gave him WrestleMania 22 and 23. Everybody was like, those matches were great. They put Cena over. He got so much heat, both heel and face heat off those matches, that it gave huge credibility to the WWE title, the only title that matters, and they just don't get it with him. They just don't get that he's the star, and he needs to be on top with the belt all the time every year.
Well, the problem with Cena, I think, is they treat him like their new Rock. And by that I mean
Worse than that.
He's so over, they don't even worry about it. We can use him to job to whoever and maybe give some rub to somebody and not even pay attention to him, and he'll still be over. Yeah, he'll still be over, but that's not how you treat your top draw. And hopefully we've treated him better verbally here on the show, but we're also going to talk about more to the build-up of WrestleMania when we come back.
In the Ring of Honor, only champions survive.
Meet Nigel McGuinness. He's arrogant, cocky, and disrespectful.
Welcome to the playground of pain.
Made in England, crowned in America.
I am the Ring of Honor World Champion, which makes me the guy to beat. Feel my wrath.
Ring of Honor Wrestling. Premieres Saturday night, 8 Eastern on HDNet.
It's on.
To get this and other great HDNet programming, call your cable or satellite provider and ask for HDNet.
Welcome back to the Wrestling Roundtable. Joining us on our panel once again is Sal Randazzo, and we were talking about the Road to WrestleMania. Last we left off, we were just talking about John Cena. And one of the questions I was going to ask you guys, and this definitely pertains to Cena's terrible match this year, these matches don't seem special enough. That's the problem I think that everybody has. What matches would you want to see instead? What would be special to you?
Get rid of the Hogans and the Austins and say, do we have people from the modern era that we can create
Yes.
special matches?
I would like to see Cena Hardy.
Cena and Jeff Hardy, two of their top draws, who have never fought either, would have been a fuck of a lot more interesting. And actually, I think we've said it on the show before, would be kind of our modern day version of Hogan Warrior. That would be the closest we would get.
I think going back to Cena Orton now that they've pushed Orton and they've done the legacy thing and he won the Rumble and saying, now I know I can beat you, people would buy that and believe that he could actually beat Cena.
That was probably the plan up until No Way Out.
And they covered the cage
I
in
thought
sheets because people found out Christian was going to be there. So,
well, Cena in particular has probably about half a dozen more interesting matches between the current roster and even a fantasy roster like Austin or Hogan sort of stuff. Right. But what about if Mysterio had just won the Elimination Chamber? Another pair that hasn't been matched up, hasn't fought.
Mysterio,
two top draws, Mysterio and Cena.
That would be a huge match, two baby faces. And again, like I always say with Cena, you have the thing where half the people hate him, half the people love him. That match, I think at WrestleMania with all those people would have maybe not Hogan Rock heat, but something very similar where Cena would have to play the role of the bad guy.
Especially in Texas.
And how big of a star would that make Mysterio look like? In Texas, nonetheless.
Taker Michaels, like we said, is kind of going back to the well. I don't necessarily have a problem with going back to the well if it's a match that I'm interested in. I don't want to see Triple H versus Orton.
Do you think Triple H versus Orton is Triple H making up for the fact that every world title Orton's ever had, he's beaten him for?
I don't think it's necessarily a guarantee that Randy Orton's going to win the belt at WrestleMania. You have to remember it's Triple H.
Yeah, so all bets are off.
Well, the thing is, every time I've said I don't trust the Click to do the right thing, he ended up jobbing to Cena. He ended up jobbing to He Who We Do Not Speak Of. So maybe this is a little different because he's one of his babies.
Is it even the right thing at this point?
Back to
and even last year, Orton retained that belt against Triple H.
It's not like
it's going to be the same effect.
Exactly, you got it.
It's going to be the same effect. I don't think now that they officially announced that him and Stephanie are together, even brings any more intrigue to this match.
For that one night when he came out and saved her, and he was doing his Lou Ferrigno deal.
Yeah.
I thought it was the Bruce Lewis deal.
That was cute. Put it in a cage or make it a Hell in a Cell. At WrestleMania, they've never done the big main event in a Hell in a Cell. Make it big. Make it special.
I will not take this in the Big Boss Man.
You know, the legacy is banned from ringside. We're going to put a cell around it and ladders and bombs and whatever. Because at the end of the day, it's Orton versus Triple H for Cena's belt. Again. Only now it's on WrestleMania 25.
What about Chris Jericho?
This year, this guy has established himself as the top heel in the company. And he had the belt, and they kept taking it off him, and he kept getting it back, and the people bought him. He's a legitimate heel champion.
And now he's going to, job to Jerry Lawler at WrestleMania?
Because Jerry Lawler needs to have a match.
Lawler's never had a WrestleMania match. He should have a WrestleMania match.
I want to see Jericho Ricky Steamboat.
I mean,
hey, that's good. Thank you.
Steamboat.
Better lead to Mickey Rourke, because it's the only thing that makes sense at this point.
He's got to push the DVD. The DVD's coming out in April, right? So, perfect.
Jericho's so awesome now at what he does. The fans are going to cheer Jericho and boo the crap out of Rourke.
I hope that happens.
Speaking of Jericho and Steamboat, a match that I would like to see that hasn't happened in 7 years is the Intercontinental title match.
Period.
We have one
and
at
Intercontinental
WrestleMania.
title match.
What happened to title matches? I was talking on the last show about, Night of Champions gimmick is that all the titles are defended. What?
Yeah.
Even with a brand split, which we will get to, they've got an extra hour of programming on pay-per-view.
No, but we have to have our Specialty Divas match that everyone cares about, apparently. Come on.
Trish and Sonny are coming back. I mentioned the brand split. And we've talked about it on and off during the course of the first season. We know that they're going to stick with it as long as humanly possible. But doesn't it seem that every year they pick away at some other thing that reduces it and reduces it? Are we seeing the beginning of the end of it? I know they're going to do the draft in a couple months, but every pay-per-view now has both brands. They're setting up tag champs feuding with each other, women's champs feuding with each other.
They're not going to end it because it would make too much sense. They're just doing what they always do. They're slowly devaluing it because they want to take the cheap way out. We don't have a match for our divas, even though Beth Phoenix is a great women's wrestler who had the belt here, so we'll just have Melina versus the French chick, in a match, and we'll throw the tag champs in there. They're not ending the brand split. That's not an indicator of ending the brand split. It's an indicator that they're desperate for stuff because they haven't had any matches to build all year. So they're like, let's just do some brand split related matches.
And that's their own fault.
Do you remember how at 20 they had Undertaker come back and it was Kane was from one show and Undertaker's from another show and Brock was from one show and Goldberg's from another show and everything was kind of built around that to some degree. It was exciting. He We Do Not Speak Of who also was coming from another brand. So the brand split played an integral part in making that show kind of work and make it exciting. But now it's just they don't have anything else to go to. So the well that they go to is what's left of the fact that there's two separate brands. And now they're doing the worst thing of all. Instead of just having people fight, they're actually having champions face each other, which destroys the belts. I mean, completely destroys
They
the
didn't mean
belts.
anything in the first place.
Carlito and Primo pinned Miz and Morrison clean on SmackDown. You can't have champions from one brand pin champions from the other brand and expect that not to affect everything. People, how is anyone gonna care about tag titles?
Didn't Cena pin Edge when both were champions?
Probably.
On one of the shows.
Remember
One of 3 hours.
Booker T, Big Show, Cena.
But Miz and Morrison are on every show every week, and they're starting to have some company in that category, I would
Everyone
think.
is on every show every week.
Yeah.
And then My Network TV exploded the other week, and Triple H is on Raw all of a sudden, and it's like you don't even notice.
Yeah, exactly.
I guarantee, if they ever end the brand split, you know they're going to use these difficult financial times as an excuse. It's never going to be their creative. No. But speaking of their creative, we are going to talk about some of the things they did get right and wrong, of course, because we're going to talk about the best and worst of WrestleManias when we come back.
Can we mention how sad it is that Batista will be a part of WrestleMania?
I'm devastated.
Michaels can't ever face MVP because he's black.
Yeah.
I love when I reduce it to just the stupidest thing. Madu can't be in the legacy.
It's Rod's like MVP, Shelton Benjamin. I'm like, we know where this is going.
Yeah, right.
Watching this is going to be.
There's no such thing as racism in wrestling. Mexico.
Just talk to Olean. We know Olean's going to call it.